Like my mom would say, it's kind of biblical or spiritual, religious, I would say. Like there's mantles being opened, like Oprah 70. You know what I mean? Like, wow, there are mantles opening up. So we need to have more women. And most of the most successful speakers are men.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, who was the last very powerful speaker? It takes a while to like really think about them. I think right now I can say like Mel Robbins, Oprah.
Yeah, exactly. Let them. Like she's getting her. That's the thing right there.
And
but it's
in
like
her 50s.
Yeah. Right? And no hate, no shade. It's like, okay, I love a Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes, some of the greatness, School of Greatness. Like there's all these different people, Les Brown, Tony Robbins. Like I know them, I could riddle them off, but we're the women. Brene Brown.
And also where are the colored women?
Well, hello. Can we talk about it?
Yeah. Can we talk about it? It's
saying.
true. I always think about
Buddha,
this.
let's go. You know what I mean? What's your last name? Sorry.
Alvi.
Alvi.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your background?
Pakistani. This is not my interview. This is all about Jully Black. Okay, let me do a quick intro because we're already chatting.
We're
guys.
chatting. Good. Okay.
We are chatting. Feel free to have your water, please.
Yes.
She's making me nervous, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we are ready. This episode's going to be fire. This episode's going to be everything I think a woman needs to hear, no matter what age you are in. We're going to get real. I think a lot of Jully's career. There's a lot of music history. There's a lot of success. But I think what I want to focus on this podcast is really being able to share a deeper message for the women listening and for the women that are stuck and the women that are finding and the women that are struggling. And I know you do that really, really well. We've got Jully Black in the house. She's known as the Queen of R&B and Soul. Every time I search you up, it says, Canada's Queen of R&B and Soul. But I'm going to challenge that and say you are just the Queen of R&B and Soul. I really do feel that. All morning I was listening to her and there's just so much power in her voice. And I know she knows that. But beyond her voice, she's a woman of faith, resilience, and reinvention. Growing up in a Jamaican immigrant household as the youngest of 9 kids, guys, breaking barriers in the Canada's music scene, becoming a powerhouse with her voice, sharing her lessons, and she continues to share her lessons. We talk about what it means to heal trauma, a word that's very commonly thrown around. We are going to talk about faith, purpose, redefining success in a world that is often trying to keep you in a box. Her journey leaving behind inspired women, but most importantly, standing taller, speaking louder, and thriving. Because she's thriving. You are thriving. Welcome to the show, Jully Black.
Thank you. That's a beautiful intro. Now I'm going to have to take your intro, transcribe it, send it to my management and say, when they ask for an intro, could we just use Huda's words? It's all encompassing and I really appreciate the humanity of the intro.
That's how I feel when I heard you last. And yesterday I was like, okay, I have all these questions I want to ask Jully Black. And I kept and I've got so many questions. I never follow a script, but I think with you, there's certain things that I really want to chat about. But before I get to my questions, I'm like, what do I want to know now? And I thought the power of now is the most powerful moment in life is now, is the present. So where are you now?
Right now, I could feel the ground under my feet. So I'm being where my feet are. I tell myself that on the regular, especially when I need to submit and be present, right? Right now, I'm an interesting, intersection of who I was born to be, meaning fully loaded. My fiance, Valentine, always says, every human is born fully loaded. So when you think someone's changing, that personality, like that child's personality is still there. So on today, I'm remembering Julianne Indira Gordon. I'm remembering that little girl who didn't see anyone that looked like me and still had inspiration to be somebody that others could look to, even at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. Okay, I don't see me on TV. I don't hear me on the radio. Like I hear Whitney. I didn't hear any Canadians, right? That type of thing. I'm also very much like joy is my job. That's been my recent kind of mantra. Joy is my job. And especially being an entrepreneur and an artist entrepreneur, being somebody in a space where it could be pursuit, and you could be measured against others or even against what's in your bank. You know what I mean? It's like, but if joy is my full-time job, if what I'm doing, hearing, seeing doesn't lead me to joy, or it doesn't bring joy to me, then I know that I need to make a different decision.
How do you decide what's bringing you joy versus the pursuit versus the distractions now?
Right, that's a very good question. First thought, right thought. First thought, right thought is it's discernment. It's a feeling. Some people will walk into a space and say, "Oh, I don't know about the vibe. I don't know about the vibe of this room," or, the energy or whatever word you choose. Right, that's your inner guidance system. Like,
Trust it fully.
Trust, and a lot of times you may be the only person to even understand why you're making that decision, or understand that you're somebody else's yes and is really supposed to be your no type thing, right? And I love to laugh. I like, for example, when my stylist dresses me, when I start to dance, doesn't matter if I have on a bathing suit or a full-on, parka
Or a nothing.
Because I feel like comfortable in my skin. I'm like, oh, yes, even my wedding dress. I was like full down twerking.
Wait, can I ask you, is that the music in you, or is that's just, were you born like this? Did you develop this? Tell me, I want to know.
I know. My mom would say that I was always a charismatic baby even.
Oh, wow. How is that?
Baby.
Like a baby?
Baby. Just, you had so much charisma as a baby. You're a charismatic baby. And I go to these churches
You're
where it's
born
like,
with it.
Yeah.
Born with
but
it.
I think we all have that dance. If you look at babies, I don't care what culture, you see them do a little, little baby shark thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's that song. What happened to us? I feel emotional right now. What happened to us that made that song go quiet? What happened? That's what I want us all to kind of ask ourselves, or made it, it may not be totally off, but it's just faint in the background.
Did you go through that?
100%, of course, but it never went silent. And that's the message. Your song maybe the volume might be lower. It's up to you if you're going to turn that song off, or allow life or someone to actually take control of that dial and press mute. No.
How did Jully Black come to Jully Black? And I'm not specifically talking about music per se. Mm-hmm. I know that's the essence of what you do and what you've been able to create. But from a younger age, I know there's a lot of your mom that's influenced a lot of you now. But like, when you go back to that time when you were, feeling the dance, feeling the music, then picking a career like the entertainment industry, which is quite honestly like the most challenging and I feel like the most brutal industry, where you're measured, like you said, you're seen, mm-hmm. and then you're chopped down based on the performance that you give on a day-to-day. Can you walk me through that journey?
Yeah, that's a great question to even give thought to, because when you when something finds you, like music found me in church. It found me at 6 years old.
I literally have when did music find you?
Yeah, it found
Not
me.
when you found music. When did music find you?
Music found me. And I just so happened to be, named Jully Black. But there wasn't a time until I got, when I say older, I'm talking about like in my 20s, when I actually had like solid record deals where I knew what the contracts were saying. Before then, everything was what sport would call a W. Everything was a win, right? If I finish a song, or I finish a performance, or I meet a producer, or I'm even in the audience of like a showcase or a concert, it was a win. I was just so, you look at athletes, if you look at some footage of like Kobe Bryant, others, little kids with the basketball, like they wanted to play it, bounce that, they'll be like bouncing the ball, and the parents like, put down the ball and do your homework. Bouncing the ball. It's time for dinner, put down the ball. That's what music was and is for me my entire life to this day, right? So the struggle sometimes is patience, is also where I'm positioned. Because truth be told, yes, you could, pursue, and then you network and all the things, but where are you placed? When you have the opportunity to actually move yourself into another position, going from this chair to that chair to this chair. The only way things really change is for you to change. And I made a conscious decision at a certain point to let me go explore America. And I did a lot there, and I met people, and I realized I need to learn the business of music,
This was in your 20s?
This is in my 20s, like early 20s, like late teens, not even just 20s. I'm talking like 18, 19 years old, right? So I had this, and I think it's being the child of immigrant parents. And people think kids aren't watching. Kids see everything. And if they don't see it with their actual eyes, we see it in the feeling, in the energy.
What did you watch?
You know, once my parents divorced, even before my parents divorced, there was always music in my house, right? I remember my dad's turntables. And what I miss in this day and age, and my peer group and I, my friends, my best friends, Jen and Usra, we were kind of recreating our childhood where the parents and the kids, and there'd be music and food. On the weekends, it was jovial in the house. There's music playing, or somebody would come over, like whatever happened, maybe it was COVID, but whatever happened to people visiting each other's houses and just eating or watching TV, laughing, playing some cards, dominoes, like what happened to that? And so for me, that's all I remember. My siblings, because I'm the youngest of 9, right? So my siblings being 10, 20 years older than me, so it means when I was like 3, 4, they're already 14. So teenagers, their friends coming over, different outfits, different hairdos. So I'm watching this whole thing, like friendships, family, going to church, getting on a church bus that came to pick up the kids, going off to church, coming home, smelling the food mom was cooking. Before we left, we knew, what's going to be for dinner? Oh, it's curry chicken today. It's all of this it informs my palate and why I'm so interested in people and your experience and who am I sitting in front of? What's that story behind a beautiful face, Huda? Right? Behind that awesome white blazer. Who is Huda? Not what do you do?
And you were curious about that all your life?
All my life. And that's part of my pain point. And I say this to say abandonment and rejection. Like let's say I'm so interested in getting to know who this person is. But now I have to learn, especially through therapy, hey, guess what? Not everyone is even ready, willing, or able to open up. They may not want to.
Don't you be like, why?
At times, at some points I used to be. But now it's like, you know what? You have to give grace and respect people's emotional boundaries, right? And know that, you know, I had to unfriend some people in my life, right? And I was like, if I was in a bad relationship, like romantic, and it was time to end the relationship, I do what I have to do to end the relationship. So why can't I apply that to friendships? Why are we dragging, especially women, why are we dragging these relationships with us into our future, when there's no place for them, reason, season, lifetime. So all of these things is what informs who Jully Black has become, who I'm still becoming. Right?
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Your childhood, when you were saying that, if I can say, our home feels like that right now.
Yeah.
Because my kids are, you know, teenagers and they're in university, but
What?
all their friends.
What?
Yeah. We get to know each other in a bit. But they're in university, but all their friends come over. We got like board games going on.
That'll make no sense to me. Can we just go back to they're in university? So you had them when you were 2?
Yeah, I was 19.
You just came out the womb with a baby, as a baby.
But it was taking me back because when you say that, I don't know what happened to us in COVID. And a lot happened in COVID, and it stripped away that part of being able to enter someone's home, hang out, eat dinner. It's coming back. And I actually relate because that's something that I aspire to have in my home on the daily. And the kids come over, their friends come over. Our house is a place where all the kids want to hang. And and I really want to freeze those moments because when I look at it, I'm like, this is the greatest gift I have been able to receive and get when I can see my house and there's kids everywhere and it's just loud and nothing's perfect and pizza's on the floor. And when you're talking to me about that brings me so much joy. I can only imagine. So that's how you grew up.
Yeah. So my
family.
mom was basically you, right? Seriously. And the door was always open. You could always get a hot meal. And other people's parents would send their kids, be like, okay, go, because my mom was the matriarch kind of the community. Because a lot of my friends' moms were like 10 years younger, right? So while my mom's in her 50s, 60s, their moms were in their 50s, 40s, right? So there was that overarching respect, you know what I mean? And also there's just there was safety. There was like, you could trust. Oh, they're at Jully's house, or they call it Miss Mac, because my mom's maiden name is McPherson. So they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to Miss Mac's house. And safe, sleepover. This is why when people ask, and I've had some ignorant people interview me and ask like, oh, so what was it like to be poor? How did it feel to be poor?
Someone asked you that?
Yeah. But I'm saying that to say, just
But in general, yeah.
yeah, but it's like, I wasn't raised to be poor, feel poor. We weren't poor. And I don't have to justify that we were middle class or we were upper class or this. No, like what's, so there's those type of. Mm-hmm.
Going back to the money summit where you spoke, you said this, you said poor is a mindset.
That's right.
It's true.
It's absolutely true. And I think that a lot of the, I would say, poverty mindset that even I started to develop later in life was because of the music business.
Can you tell me more?
Yeah. So, for example, like my mom raised me to have a piggy bank. And I had my social insurance number early. I wanted to work. Even when I was too young to work, she's like, don't worry. I'm like, I want to make my own money. And I learned how to save. I learned that literacy. Even though my mom didn't have a formal education, she taught us all quite a bit of financial literacy. So, so now later on though, when it's like, okay, so you get this record deal of whatever, $500,000. And then it's like, all right, well, this money has to go there, or, oh, the budget's tapped up because just all of this shadiness that happened once upon a time in the business, car services or music videos, you didn't know it was going to cost this or that. It's like, wait. Had I been able to actually step in with my own brilliance and not feel insecure because a manager is supposed to speak for you or a lawyer is supposed to speak for you, like I actually had the literacy, but didn't open my mouth, right? So those were some of the tough lessons I learned later in life. I'm talking like in my 30s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I roll my shoulders back. I slap my chest because I wouldn't choose it, but I wouldn't change it. Now when I see something going on our budget, or I ask the question, like, okay, let's really talk about this budget. What makes sense? What makes dollars? What's the profit and loss? Like, let's talk about this thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it was actually a part of here. I wanted to talk to you about finances and money and literacy, actually. What was money growing up? What did it mean? What was the conversation around that? Because, my household was very different and we all have that. But what was it for you?
Yeah, so money was always a tool. It wasn't anything to worship. It wasn't anything to have you feel better than or less than, right? My mom always... I think because she came here and knew that she needed to have great credit, right? So her thing was always about your credit rating. You know what I mean? and ambitiously be happy and proud to pay your bills. Don't hide, right? So it's interesting, especially for those of us that might have been filed into financial difficulty in college or got a credit card and whatever happened, right? My mom would be like, listen, respect that you qualify for this card. And you might have a balance, but keep consistently paying that.
Wow, she instilled that.
Yes.
So would you say that
I'm yelling loud.
No. Yeah, she did. That's incredible. Would you say that when you started to make the money and you started to do these big things that you were able to tell me the challenges with that? So when the money came in, and then when you got wiser and better with it.
Yeah, so it kind of became, when the money came in, it was really fun. And and I say this because when I got my first record deal, I was very young and it was an American deal. And the American dollar was like 165. Like I'm talking, it was, right? And I still made sure I still lived in Canada, right? So I was bowling at a young age. I'm like 19, you know what I mean? Like money coming in. But I was like, okay, you know what? Because my mom at the time was, she was still living in subsidized housing, right? After they divorced and we had to do what we had to do. So fine. We lived in subsidized housing, but she wasn't getting subsidy. And I say this to say my mom was upset that her neighbor would pay $81 for rent. And she would pay $1,200, and she'd be upset, right?
She had every right to be.
Right. She's like, because this whole market rent and subsidy. But anyway, not hating on people who need subsidy, but for those who don't need it, whole other thing, right? But I was like, okay. I remember it like it was yesterday, Huda. I was like, I just need my mom's name on the deed. I'm going to take whatever money I have, and I'm buying her a condo. I'm getting her out. I said, and if my eyes were to close after this, then there's no Grammy, no Oscar, no Emmy, there's no award on earth that will feel better than my mom moving and living where she wants to live. And so said, so done. So said, so done. refurnished it, everything. It was just like extreme makeover home edition. Like and I'm her baby. I'm the one Canadian child. Everyone else is born in Jamaica and great, right? But to me, that represented that sacrifice of leaving all she knew to work for $1.65 an hour in 1968, right? Didn't plan on having more children. My dad is her second marriage, right? So for them to have me, my twin brother dies 5 days later after we're born. So just some of the things that I realized my mom and my parents, but more so my mom, and I say this because having a baby, getting married in Canada, getting pregnant, having twins, then going through a divorce, 11 years later, it's like, here she is with this kind of miracle baby. Because I often say it could have been my brother that's still here. So as I live my life, I live for both of us. And some of the things where people might think that I now say is assertive. Once upon a time, they say is aggressive, or what other white people have said in the past. Right? They mistake assertiveness for aggression or whatever, right? Not all, but some. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm masculine and feminine. Like, I'm actually stepping in for my brother and saying, all right, because it is, James Brown said, it's a man's world, right? But, we women it's time for us to really step up and own our energy.
Your mom, almost every sentence, your mom.
Yeah.
You were the youngest of 9. Did you get a chance to be close to her? Because often you hear the youngest one doesn't get the attention, doesn't get the, and I'm curious that even if you're saying like, I made my first big money, I'm balling, and the first thing I want to do is go serve my mom.
Yeah.
Why? How?
Yeah. Well, you remember there was like I don't know if it's a Shakespeare thing, but it was a story called Oedipus. So Oedipus was he was really just hooked onto his mother, apparently. Just Google
you were hooked on.
Google Oedipus. We had to do a project, for English in like grade 9. I'm like, I think I'm Oedipus. Anyway, there's more to it. But I was ridiculously attached to my mom. And even as she seemed to be like an older mom, like I said, compared to my friends' parents, I couldn't travel. Like, for example, like sleepovers, they'd drop me off. And then 1 a.m, she'd have to come back and pick me up.
Really?
Because I'm crying. I want my mom. Crying. I was so attached to my mom. And so I spoke to my mom every single day of life. Wow. Every day. And so it was important for me. She called me the foreign baby, though, and I was very, she called me foreign baby. And scandalous.
Okay.
So I needed her to co-sign for my car, and I was like 21. So she had worked at General Motors and retired. And so we get all these discounts from General Motors, right? So I needed her to co-sign now. It's my turn to get a GM car. Chevy Cavalier.
It's getting passed on.
Right, it's getting passed on, right? My own brand new Chevy Cavalier. Let's go. 2-door. And so she
That's
came.
a big deal.
It was a big deal.
It's a
Big deal, right? I remember my payment was $136 a month.
Oh, man. Seriously.
Hello, Mercedes.
That's another discussion from where we were to the cost of living. Fuck.
Right? Trust me. Anyway, to make a long story even longer, she put her name and her age, and it said May 13th, 1936. I was like, who's born in 1936? You're born in 1936. My mom looked really good for her age, right? These like West Indian parents, and especially of like that generation, you don't know their age.
No.
You barely know if they have a middle name. Okay? I'm like, what's your... And so I was like, okay. Now at 21, I want to be my mom's friend. Like, I want to know her story.
Oh, you're interested.
I was interested. Like, who are you? Like, 'cause you've supported my dreams, whether it's basketball, my music, modeling. She sent me to all the things she would just invest because she's like, I don't want you to be idle. Education, and if you want to do extracurricular, and it's, above board, I'll invest. You know what I mean? I'll support, she would say. I'll support you. And so to see etiquette school, we were speaking off camera about that. I wanted to go to etiquette school. I wanted to be like, okay, how does Etta James and Diana Ross and Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, like they were just like regal, and they kept the positive word of diva, right? It wasn't no attitude behind the word. You see what I'm saying?
It was real, yeah.
It was real. And that's because my mom. I'm like, okay, you want to go try it out? Go try it out. I walk with books on my head, high heel shoes, 5-inch, 6-inch.
So what were you learning when you started to get to know her as a woman to woman from that age to the time she passed? I know there's a lot of lessons she's taught you. I've seen your interviews. You talk about her. Maybe some of the lessons that you continuously repeat and think about often. What are they?
Forgiveness. Up to yesterday, I had a really rough time with my dad. And I was thinking, I could hear my mom like, Ju, forgive, let it go, let it go. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. It's for you to save your salvation, to preserve your salvation. Like, she's just very much about your character, your relationship with God. Like, don't let anyone come make you be who you're not because you react, right? That's one thing for sure. And she would say, this is like a, I laugh because there's something in the West Indian community called vex money. And for those of you watching, if you know about vex money,
tell me.
Make sure you have your vex money, right? So this is, you don't think you need vex money when you're married? Now I'm getting married, so honey, I don't have vex money. But when I was dating, she'd say, if you need to book a hotel, take a flight, get a taxi, you must have your own vex money. Like, make sure you have. And vex money for her too was like, do you have 3 months rent, 6 months rent? Like, when I was living with my boyfriend at the time, could you carry this apartment by yourself? Have your vex money. You know what I mean?
Even now.
Ladies. And that helped me with the music business. Like, okay, so we have a touring season, we make X amount, but will these offers that I'm saying yes to, 6 months worth or 4 months worth of offers, it needs to really carry me for 8 months to a year.
You always thought like that.
Always.
That's your mother. Wow.
Always. Laughter and dance every day. My mom found something to laugh at every day. Even when she was angry, she'd find something to laugh at. Victor Newman on Young and the Restless, maybe his mustache is out of place. Like, what's wrong with Victor? What's wrong with him face? What's wrong with Nikki?
Do you think about her every day?
Yeah, and I think about her not having to think about her. Not having to be like, I'm going to think about mom.
No.
You're right? So I say this because I said it just, I think yesterday on one of my Instagram stories, because I try to encourage people who've lost a loved one to keep their pictures up. Don't put it in a photo album that you'll never go back to, right? If you truly want to honor them in that way and keep their legacy and even their strength, right, to be able to really tap into it, she's on my screensaver. You know, things like that where, you know, I'm able to, I recorded her. So I have a lot of her voice notes. Wow. Like, I'm talking probably at least 100 voice notes and phone calls, but she didn't know I was recording her.
You just
had the presence of mind. I had the presence of mind from the age of 65. She was 65 right to 81. So I used her voice on my tour.
You know, every year for my birthday, my parents will ask me, what do you want? And for the last 4 years, I've started asking my parents to record a video and send it to me. And they're all sitting in my Google Drive. And I don't know why I never did that before. But whenever I open up my Google Drive, I see my dad's little video that I'm like, I'm like, this is precious. And
put it on a external hard drive.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will.
Make sure I backed all of my stuff up too, because these clouds, you just never know.
Your mom sounds so wonderful.
Oh, she's phenomenal.
You know, my kid's grandmother is Caribbean. She's 88. Julie, the lady lives on her own.
Yeah.
Jane and Finch. She cooks on her own. She does her own groceries. She lives in government housing. Still, she chooses not
they
to.
don't want to leave.
No. She's very happy. She has her prayer room upstairs. My kids go every other weekend to see her with their dad, and I'm just like, how is this lady built?
Yeah.
And she had their dad at 40.
There you go.
I don't know what it is.
It's a thing. I mean, some of them say they're on the pill, but I think they're just eating the sugar. I said, my mom,
give me that
the
pill.
sugar pill.
Okay, I want to take the listeners, and I want to take you back to your music career. I'm sure you reflect a lot, but what was the come up? I'm just going to ask you the questions that I want to know.
Oh, wow.
How, if you could go back and you're watching yourself, was there imposter Julie? Was there Julie like, I don't know? Was there Julie like, I fucking got this, let's go, this is my life?
Yeah.
How walk me through it. I want to go on the journey with you.
I know.
If you can. I know it's
of course, it's not a hard journey or a long journey, because I've always believed in myself. Charismatic baby. I've always known that I'm special. And that's one thing I try to encourage other people to say, like, you know what? Remember that you're special. Remember that you're one of one. Whatever it is that you're doing, you are absolutely one of one. God broke the mold after that. Boom, done. Right? My most challenging parts was, I said earlier, like position, like Canada, what's going on? Like this, I'm like, God, okay, I'm born in Canada, but my abilities and my work ethic and my vibe and was more so international because Canadians tend to be reactive. Right? Now there's a lot more of the younger generation that's like, look I'm going for it, deuces, or independent artists because now, with social media, you're not having to wait on a publicist or a label, but it's very crowded. Now you're really fighting through the noise. Who's really going to cut through, how do you cut through the noise as far as new generation, right? And so for me, I was always interested in being like the wife of hip hop, especially in Canada.
I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, because there was no other way. R&B didn't exist here. Yeah. So being that my boys, my friends, or like Cardinal, since I was 15, Cardinal Official, Socrates, Chaclair, Solitaire, the list goes on, Infinite, like there's all of the Jellystone, like all the ones that were coming up, we came up at the same time. Baby Blue Sound Crew with Sean Paul.
What was that like? What did it
fun
feel? Yeah.
Fun, electric, motivating, competitive in the best way. You know what I mean? Competition's good. Keep you sharp, keep you on your toes. Right? Tara Chase, Motion, Mishi Me. Just like,
what do you guys do when you hang out?
What music? We're always in the studio. So this is the thing. It was always productive hanging out. And it's like, yo, come listen to this song or, drop a verse on it. Or could you drop your, so even recently a brilliant artist named Toby, he reached out to do a rendition of my song Rallying with Socrates. And what he did with it, to flip it, is crazy. I can't wait.
Can we find it?
I don't know if he released it. It's coming out. I can't wait for the world to hear this. And I thanked him. I was like, you know what? 27 years later, he chose this song. He didn't know it was our song.
Oh.
Yeah. So he heard the beat and he loved the beat. And the producer was like, yeah, because he's from Nigeria, Toby originally. So that's the part of me. That's the strength of music having such longevity. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to fade away.
What did fame, success at that time teach you that you think struggle and pain couldn't have?
Ooh, sheesh, you're going all the way there, eh? The funny thing about fame, I guess you're talking about back then fame or just fame in general?
In general. Take me to the height of your career and then talk to me about after that too.
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually know that I'm at the highest point right now because of my maturity and because of my wisdom and what I know and because of the demographic that is actually interested in what I have to say, how I think.
Me.
Right? Thank you, Huda. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not about a chart number. I haven't had like a song on radio, like a new song on radio in many, many years. Radio is a whole other beast where it's so political. But it's like, wait, my voice I take everywhere with me. And so focusing on being really kinesthetic and meeting people. Look how we met. We met in person. You see what I'm saying? And I made a pact when I was going to run the world. I said, I'm going to come in the morning. I have to spend the day. I'm not coming to do deuces, show up as Jully Black at 4, do my thing, my fireside chat and leave. I'm like, nah. So, pain has really propelled me to purpose, right? That is, if people would really think about the ground that is, or the path that's created through pain. Like if you really, even in your body, where is it, follow the pain? Where is it sitting? Is it in your chest, your belly, your throat? Like follow the pain. Don't waste it. See where it's trying to take you. Because it doesn't have to paralyze you. Right? That is brought to this day. It's like I've stepped into purpose through the portal of pain. Because before it was like, okay, so let's get how do we get to number 1 on the radio chart, for example? Until I met Jay-Z. Jay-Z's like sat off camera. I was like, did the interview and he's like, I said, give me one piece of advice. Like I need a nugget. And he said, you'll spend the least amount of your career in the number one position. So don't chase that. The rest of your career, that's the sweet spot. Right? And I was like, wow.
Did you take it at that time?
Hell to the yeah. Because at that point, I remember it was 2012. I'll never forget. And I was doing e-talk, doing journalism and stuff, right? Which I still enjoy to this day. And I was at a fork in the road, as my manager at the time didn't know what to do with me anymore. 7 Day Fool went to number one, and Revival and Junos and all the things. And I was like, okay, well, let's go. But she didn't know how to be proactive. She didn't know how to build from that point, right?
From that place.
From that place.
So where do you go next?
Right. But this is why my thing now is peak to peak. But if you're thinking peak, oh, we're going to drop down. No. You have a certain viewpoint here. You know, look left, look right, look around. Right? Eagles. No, it's not seagulls. I tell people all the time, I'm not a seagull. Seagull walk upon ground. I'm an eagle, 10,000 feet. You know what I mean? Wingspan. When I look to the right, look to the left, if I see another bird, it's an eagle. Right? That's it.
I have goosebumps. I'm sorry. I've sat with a lot of women. You have something, you have a gift. You know that. You said it.
Thank you.
How do you stay there? How do you stay being an eagle? Do you not have moments where you're like, I'm not an eagle? Or you're going through the pain, the difficulty, you lose your mom, your career, the challenges in your career. How do you stay an eagle?
It's a belief system. I mean, I've always believed I was an eagle, but sometimes the eagle's just injured. You know what I mean? It's just and you come down, and you know, you hopefully have another eagle come help you. You know?
You're big on community. I know.
Big on community. Big on it.
You. I want to go there. I want to go to the friendship, losing people, okay to lose people. But when you look back, or even now, people ask you all sorts of questions, but what has been the most difficult, challenging time in your career, whether it was the height or whether it was after, whether it's now, that a lot of people don't know about and that you don't share often, or is everything that you do you share? Tell me, I want to know the hardest and the most challenging parts of your life.
I love how curious you are and interested.
When you said that the story of people, who they are, yeah, I resonate. That's me. I see myself, and when you say that, always have been. Maybe that's why I started the podcast. I just want to ask a million questions, but I am curious.
So I think definitely the most difficult time is losing my mom. And 2 years before that, being her like sole caregiver. Because what a lot of people don't realize is when you're an entrepreneur, I'm going to just say in a Caribbean household, because that's my lived experience. I was the one who took the risk, right? Big risk, big return. I got the big return off of it. However, people also, and then if you don't have children, they'll always look at it. They've looked at it as I have the most time. I have the most money, whatever, right? Their own perception of me. They haven't seen a day. They haven't looked into my bank account. They don't know what's on my Google Calendar. But to them, Jully's available. And that was very, very hard because there's no way I was going to not take care of my mom or be there for her. But it did impact me financially, big time, big time. And I was going through a transition in management where there was some bad taxes. So I was sitting there, and this is fresh. I've never shared this with anyone, so I'm glad you asked me this question. I'm there, I have $150,000 to pay the government in some taxes that weren't done right because of some grants that were applied for in my name.
And the management and the PR and like ask everyone but me.
Yeah. And even beyond PR, it was just really like, I tell especially artists, like, listen, and I heard Oprah say this. I'm like, if someone can't wait 24 to 48 hours for your signature, they're not worth working with. Put your eyes on everything, right? And if you don't know what it is, ask a question. And so anyway, I had to choose. Okay, I'm take care of my mom, right? Be on the road. I did some things here and there, but I was living off of my savings, right? And then had to tap it. Remember I said I made that purchase. I'm like, okay, mom's good, right? And it got to the point to negative 13 cents in my bank account. I was like, wow. Okay. okay, this is where shit gets real. Really real. Rob from Peter to pay Paul. Figure out line of credit. Figure out credit cards. And still all the while, I hear my mom like, protect your credit. Protect your credit. Protect your credit. Protect your credit.
This is real.
Yeah. Real.
The eagle was injured.
The eagle was injured, big time. Got the chance to talk to my mom for 2 years straight, like to now get to know, oh wow, she was raped, by a taxi driver in Jamaica, got pregnant, right? And she said they would have used a hanger and got rid of this baby, so she kept the baby. You know what I mean? Knowing that she was sold to a white family when she was 4 years old. And it's my grandpa that went to go fight for her to get her back. Like things that you hear about on TV, or you hear about these things on some movie. And I heard her telling me that when she was coming to Canada, she was in a bus accident. And there was casualties, and she crawled out the rubble. She found her suitcase. She said she dust off. She said, I have to make it to Canada. So I think about if she didn't have that resilience and just that urgency, there would be no Jully. So when things get hard, and trust me, it's gotten hard, and it's hard sometimes today, where it's like, why is it I see others that have people willing to be, to invest in what is 1/16 of what I have to offer? And it's so tough for Black people, Black women, But I'm like, okay, Jully, you've seen this before. You've gotten through. It may not be the same struggle, but it's the same grief. That's what I want people to realize. Like, okay, whatever that pain is pain. Pain is pain, right? And so now I sit and I'm like, okay, I just did this tour. I funded the whole tour by myself. $200,000. You know what I mean? And this is where now finally I'm actually saying numbers, because you were taught, don't speak, don't say how much you make, or don't say how much you, but then I look at other communities that's like, yeah, they gave me $100,000, or I got $1 million. And I'm learning like, my mom would say, I'm like, oh, this is what mom was talking about. The power of life and death lie in the tongue. Oh, speak that which you are. I'm charismatic. I'm the shit. I knew this. The only thing Beyonce has different than me is pyro. A few extra dancers. Like, I'm like, pound for pound, voice for voice, let's go. But you have to edit. Another challenge has been editing my life so there aren't fear people, the fear voices. Like, that's now they've all been edited.
How'd you do that? How'd you edit those people out of your life?
Therapy.
How'd you change when you start thinking like that? Right? When that starts getting to you, because
practice, trust me.
Was there another level that you think you didn't get to unlock?
100%. I had a manager, and I'll say it right here, right now. Use it if you want. Don't use it if you don't want to. But I'll keep it real. A woman managing me for a while, good while. And we had reached a point in our relationship where she was frustrated. She didn't know what to do with me. And I had interviewed Jay-Z, and it went well. I always brought my CDs with me. Back in the day, you could bring CDs, right? I'd be like, here's my CD. And I found out later on, because this is when he first launched Rock Nation, and I found out later on that they had reached out looking for me, wanting to talk to me, wanting to hear more about my music, seeing if there's an opportunity to potentially be like an inaugural Rock Nation artist, right? And she was upset with me. She was upset for whatever reason and didn't follow up. Right? And I can lean into my faith and say everything happens for the right reasons, but I believe in missed opportunities. I do. Others will come around in a different way. But that right there, complete missed opportunity, especially when the energy was spite. To grieve that, I had to take that to therapy. Like, what is going on? What is it about? And then there was that talking about, there were those times, Huda, where I was like, okay, so what's wrong with me? Why is it every
me
time?
versus why them? Was there honest?
Yeah. And I have to say, this is where my prayers, especially now, and even back then, this was, like I said, like 2012, 2013, I was like, I don't want Beyonce's blessing, Adele's blessing. I don't want their thing. I want what's on my account, right? Give me the interview, I'll get the job. I don't want you to give me the job.
Yeah, like that.
You know what I mean? Opportunity.
What did that teach you later on? The missed opportunity, or we're all humans, the coulda, shoulda. I think about that in my life now. I'm 40. I think about the 30, what I could have done differently. And I think it's okay we all have demons, the demons that say you could have, you should have. We learn to get better with managing the demons and quieting that voice.
Right.
And we have to, otherwise you can't live with yourself. You can't live with yourself for the rest of your life thinking I could have done this, I should have. So you have to find a way to build a voice too.
Yeah.
Because that voice, one, can only take you so far.
100%. I think what it taught me, is I knew that relationship was over probably 3 years before that.
Okay.
Accountability, really. And why are we staying stuck? Fear had me stay with that management company. So-called comfort, which was really discomfort, right? So at least from 2008, so 4 years I spent in the wilderness with that company because of past success, which at that point became an illusion because all we have is now. So if you're trying to hold on to something based on what you think is a past victory, that literally just lives in your head. That too will drive you nuts.
Well, I was going to say I've read and heard a lot that artists usually go through that period when they've had some of the most successful moments of their life and they're gone now and they are who they are now and they continue to strive and thrive in the new present. But that, like you said, the past, does that happen to you?
It doesn't happen to me because, it's funny, it doesn't happen to me because I haven't hit my pinnacle. And since, listen, it's so interesting because at one point I almost lost my voice forever, like my singing voice. I had a hemorrhage, my vocal cords hemorrhaged. And for 3 months, I couldn't not only speak, I couldn't sing. I was allowed to speak for 15 minutes per hour. And so if I needed to speak to you for 30 minutes, I had to be quiet for 2 hours and then speak to you for 30 minutes.
You.
Yeah, me.
Well, you haven't stopped talking since you got here.
Right. And even now, I'm speaking in how I've learned how to use my voice. I'm speaking in my upper resonance. So through that pain, through that tribulation, through that stillness and quiet that I had to be, it was like, okay, do you want to have your voice back? Or what, basically? And so I was relying on God-given talent and never trained my voice. I had never taken a vocal lesson in life, right? So these are things where you sit, don't be cocky. Don't have this expectancy that this voice is always going to be, that these hormones are always going to be there, that this body is always going to be there. It's like, Wayne Dyer spoke about this, like the 5-year-old body of self, the 12-year-old self, the 20, there's deaths. Those have passed away. A lot of parents have struggled with that, where it's like, okay, well, yeah, your kids have grown, but you actually have to grieve. That phase is gone, and that's okay, because then you leave space for what's new and what's better. In fact, right? So right now, I just was like, give me the dollars. Like, there's so much that I've been prepared for through the issues, through the past tribulations, and through that school of life. Like this, there's no university, there's no course out there that can teach this degree that I've gotten, right? Now I'm like, just give me the money. Give me the money.
You
For
said
real.
it. I agree. Hey, give me the money. You get some, you pass it on, girl.
Seriously.
I was gonna say again. I'm gonna refer because back to Run the World Summit. You said forgiveness is not an entry to my future.
That's right.
Really resonated.
Forgiveness
because,
doesn't give you access to my future.
Why do you say that?
Why not?
But I mean, I want to dig deeper because women have a hard time leaving behind friendships and relationships.
Right.
And those things change. And when did you decide to leave behind old relationships, partners and friendships? When did you know it was time and how did you do it?
So in the past, because I took a life coaching course for me, for me to be a coach. So, so actually, it was a personal transformational coach. I didn't even say life coaching because everybody's a life coach. Anyway, I love it. But in the past, right? In the past, I would sit and allow others to leave. Like it'll stay as toxic. I'm talking about like a 9-year toxic, really bad relationship that if he didn't leave, I probably would still be in the bullshit right now. So I had to go deeper with therapy and understand prenatal trauma. My first funeral, I was 5 days old. So I spent 9 months with a little boy that was alive and well in my mother's womb. So separation anxiety. Most of this, if not all, is scientific. Understanding, hey, so because I was used to that. Okay, dad leaves. Okay, well, I was used to that. All of these things play a role in what you deem to be your comfort or what you need, what you think you need for yourself. See what I'm saying? So it wasn't until I actually got to know what's my attachment style. Okay, in the past I was anxiously attached. Work through that with my therapist so I could actually attract somebody who's securely attached. Now, like all of these things.
Mr. Valentine.
Right, Mr. Valentine. Right? Understanding my pain points, being misunderstood, abandonment, rejection. Like, I'm like, okay, so then I can apply it to, okay, why am I feeling rejected here? Because, my girlfriend didn't want to come on to the spa with me. Like, I have to, am I feeling some kind of way? Why? Where's that really coming from?
Okay, let me ask you. Did you have women around you, of course, that were jealous? Your friends?
Oh, jealous?
Jealousy or not wanting to support you or you're doing this. It happens. It's natural when someone starts elevating it's a natural instinct to guard and that's where the few people that can love and support you no matter what come through.
Yeah.
Because you were an artist and because you were going to the root of being world renowned and having fans, and you still do. Did that change the people around you? Did you feel it?
I definitely felt it. I more so felt people would project onto me that them thinking that I'm changing, right? When it was really they weren't growing. Yeah, say that for the people in the back. I've never said this in life, so this is what you're pulling out of me. Thank you. Right? So easy to be like, oh, you changed. Just because my aspirations tend to be put on public display doesn't mean that your aspirations that aren't on camera shouldn't be stewarded just the same way. You want to be a doctor? Put that drive, like I want to be a singer, put that drive into it, right? So when I started to focus on my health and wellness, actually saying, okay, I'm not an athlete anymore. I always played volleyball, basketball, went to college. Now it's like, okay, so I'm not taking the subway, like things that kept my body moving. That's what I'm trying to get to, right? When we were younger, you might walk to the mall, take the subway. That's natural activity. Now what, you're going to be sedentary? So that's when certain people exited because like, oh, you don't want to go to the gym or you don't want to eat. You want to just go drink or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So when lifestyles don't align, you see alignment? Alignment is key, Huda. Alignment, more people need to look at your relationships, right? And take a census, take inventory. Like, are these people aligned with
And
not
what do you
just
do when they're not? Because a lot of us are there.
Yeah.
We're talking to, women in their 30s and 40s, primarily our audience and listeners. I go out with that message myself because I've found the most amount of pain and the most amount of transformation in my late 30s and now going into my 40s. And I feel a lot coming in the later years.
It's coming,
And so
girl. It's coming.
you speak to where you're at, right? Like I went to Lewis Howes' Summit of Greatness last year with my son.
Oh, nice. I went before the pandemic. I went twice.
Did you? I'm going again in September.
Are you? Is it still in Ohio?
This one is going to be in in LA
Okay.
at the Hollywood Bowl. I took my
Okay,
son with me,
Louis.
my 17-year-old son with me. It was our
Nice.
mother and son experience. It was incredible. They were talking about, if you're confused about who to talk to or who to serve, remember you're best served for the person you once were. And that really resonates because every few years, chapter, season, you change. And you can only speak to the version of you. That's who you influence the most. And those are the people around. And I find right now I have a lot of conversations off and on camera with people. And that's the part that's stuck for a lot of us, right? Because in our 40s, you've become complacent for some of us. You're in the same relationship for a really long time. You might be unhappy. You're choosing
right?
not to leave. You have friends that you've too scared to walk away from, even though you're sitting around the same dinner table, but not being able to communicate anymore.
Woo.
There's so much of that heaviness.
Yeah.
COVID, life, what could have been, what should have been. How do you start not eliminating, but choosing alignment? What does that look like in actual tangible format? Does that mean sitting down with someone tomorrow and saying, I respectfully no longer choose to be a part of this relationship anymore?
I did that.
It is.
I did that for the first time in my life
When?
2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Recent.
What'd you do?
Well, I took it up with my therapist. So, no different than learning lines, right? When I'm an actor as well. And so it's like, all right, so this is a scene that I actually need to write the scene. I need to write the scene. It may not go exactly how it's written, but I'll have a guidepost, right? But I had my kind of like my data points. So for me, I observe. I'll observe and I keep up. This is like your intangible. Open up your notes, right, on your phone or whatever. And if something irks you, something pisses you off or whatever, put in the notes. What happened? What was the occurrence? Like who was involved, right? And then I started to collect evidence. I was gonna be a police officer. So
I read that too.
right,
Yes.
right. So I gathered my evidence because I didn't want to be emotional, right? Because my therapist always says feelings aren't facts, right? So it's like, okay, feelings matter, but they're not facts. So I had to get the facts. And I gathered my facts. And in the meantime, for me, what helps my process is to not to push them out, but for me to reposition myself. And repositioning is a much smoother, I would say easier in air quotes process, because you'll start to realize, oh, wait, if I don't call or if I don't do the invite, does this person even notice that I'm there or not there? And that was part of my data.
That's repositioning.
Yeah. Few less calls. If you're doing something that was so routine, if I'm the one to initiate, let's go spa day, for example, and I'm always the one, like, let me skip a spa day and see. Okay. Didn't notice. Okay, let me skip an invite. Shit. I was giving myself more value in this person's life. I was carrying them lugging them into my future. They're kicking and screaming and I didn't even realize they don't want to be there. A lot of the people that you're having, there's resistance around, most times don't want to be there. They're there, they're doing some obligatories through obligation.
Release them.
This is what I'm saying. You want people, I say to people all the time, yo, you know what? I want somebody that's going to truly not tolerate. You don't tolerate me, right? You tolerating our friendship. No, like fully committed. Love. Love isn't an instant. You have to think about it. So it's work, though. Don't get it twisted. But
Yeah, I
that
like it.
release, let me tell you another thing, Huda. Once, it happens and then there's a bit of for me, there wasn't much grief. And that's how I knew it was time, too. That's how I knew it was time, because I felt light. I was like,
You gotta step in the steps.
seriously. I was like, oh my goodness. Whew.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. I resonate for me as well 2 years ago.
And then when I released the guy, the situationship, right? And the thing is, the situationship, I knew was a situationship,
Okay.
right? But it was like, it looked like it was going in a direction that was going to turn from situationship to relationship. But I was like, oh, wait, it's not flipping. So then for the first time in life, no, maybe second time, I'm lying, because I broke up with somebody like in 1998. I was like 20. But for the second time in life, in a mature way, I actually made the call. Said, hey, can we talk about this on the video? You know what? We're not going in the same direction, right? 10 days later, I met my fiance. So here's my message. Who in your life are sitting there as seat fillers? Just like the award show, when it's commercial break and you have to go pee. Jully Black has to go to the washroom. Let me get a seat filler so that when the cameras come back on, the seat isn't empty. Get rid of the seat fillers in your life. Trust me, you will bloom like never before.
I'm just going to end it right here. Honestly, thank you. That's a very powerful message. I hope it resonates with all of you. Thank you, Jully Black, for being here today.
Oh, thank you. I know we could go on forever and ever.
I know.
Eh?
I haven't ended, and I just feel like that's seat fillers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That was Jully Black, you guys. Happy that you came today. You made a difference in my life.